Special Report: The Impact of Ubiquitous Advertising on Our Minds and Lives. Date November 3rd, 2024. Good evening, everyone. I'm Michael reporting for Insight Nexus News, and welcome to tonight's Special Report. Tonight, we're diving into a phenomenon that affects each and every one of us, often in ways we might not even realize. From the moment we wake up to the time we go to bed, advertisements surround us. They fill our screens, our public spaces, and now, even our private moments. The reach of commercials has grown tremendously over the past decades, and what used to be a simple tool for selling products has now become a powerful force influencing our thoughts, our behaviors, and even our perceptions of reality. So, how did we get here? And what is the real cost of all this advertising to our psychological well-being? Let's start with the scale of today's advertising. In 2024, the advertising industry is projected to reach over $900 billion globally, and a substantial part of this goes into digital marketing. We see ads on our phones, in our social media feeds, and even on platforms where we pay to avoid commercials, like streaming services. As brands work to become part of our daily lives, advertising has gone from being something we encounter occasionally to something almost inescapable. But it's not just the amount of advertising, it's how it's embedded into everything. Companies are no longer simply placing ads, they're creating branded experiences. Our favorite songs, sports, social networks, and even news outlets like this one are infused with product placement, sponsored messages, and algorithms designed to push products tailored just for us. But what's the big deal? Some would argue that advertising is harmless, merely giving us information about new products. However, psychological research suggests a deeper impact. Experts in consumer psychology and behavioral science have found that constant exposure to ads doesn't just inform us, it shapes how we think and feel. A term often used here is perception management. Advertisers work to not only keep their brands top of mind, but also to build ideas and expectations around what we should want, value, and aspire to be. According to a study published in the Journal of Consumer Research, constant exposure to curated, idealized images, whether of lifestyles, bodies, or products, can cultivate unrealistic expectations and dissatisfaction. Social media platforms have only amplified this effect, blending ads seamlessly into our feeds. This blurring of lines between social connection and commercial transaction can make it difficult to even recognize when we're being marketed to. Let's take a closer look at the psychology behind this. Research shows that advertising has the power to influence us at a subconscious level. Dr. Robert Cialdini, a noted psychologist, argues that ads play on 6 key principles of influence: reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. When an ad tells us an offer is for a limited time only, it's using scarcity to create a sense of urgency. When an influencer we admire recommends a product, the principle of authority kicks in. Our brains are wired to respond to these cues, often without our conscious awareness. More than just influencing what we buy, advertising shapes our sense of identity. Studies reveal that when people constantly see messages telling them that buying specific products will make them happier, more attractive, or more successful, they begin to internalize these messages. Over time, this can create a sense of inadequacy or even depression. Researchers at the University of Sussex found a correlation between heavy social media use, where ads are rampant, and lower self-esteem and increased anxiety. The impacts go beyond mental health. This is about freedom of thought. When advertising becomes inescapable, it limits our ability to think independently. How often do we actually consider what we truly want rather than responding to a desire that has been cultivated by advertisers? In a way, pervasive advertising shapes society itself, creating a culture in which consumerism becomes the main narrative. Philosopher Herbert Marcuse warned of this in the 1960s, calling it the society of the spectacle, where our value systems and lifestyles are driven by the desire for commodities, not personal or communal well-being. Today, that society of the spectacle has intensified with the help of AI. Algorithms track our every move online, from the pages we like to the items we purchase, all to feed us the next ad with precision. This is the pinnacle of personalized marketing, but it raises the question: if every experience we have is filtered through the lens of a potential sale, are we really as free as we believe? So what can we do about it? experts suggest several ways to regain control over our mental space. Dr. Tim Kasser, an expert on materialism and well-being, advocates for mental detoxing, limiting exposure to ads as much as possible. Whether that means reducing time on social media, using ad blockers, or taking regular breaks from technology, these small steps can create a buffer. Kasser and others argue that by reclaiming some mental space, people can reconnect with values and goals that genuinely fulfill them, rather than those pushed by corporate interests. But this issue isn't only for individuals to solve, it's systemic. Consumer advocacy groups continue to push for clearer regulations on advertising, especially online. A study published in Nature Communications recently called for new global standards on digital advertising transparency. Advocates argue that while consumers may enjoy tailored content, they should be fully aware when they are being marketed to, with clear disclaimers and limits on data tracking. To wrap up tonight's report, the invasive reach of advertising is reshaping how we think, feel, and behave. On the surface, it may appear as harmless marketing, but as we've explored tonight, its impact on mental health and personal freedom is profound. As consumers, it's worth asking ourselves what really fulfills us, and whether the constant pursuit of products and branded experiences is leading us toward those goals or pulling us away from them. Advertising is a powerful tool, but so is the ability to choose what we let influence our lives. In the end, being mindful about what we consume, both in our media and in our daily lives, might just be the first step toward reclaiming our mental space, well-being, and autonomy in an era dominated by ads. It's a conversation we'll continue to have as society grapples with these challenges. I'm Michael, signing off, and encouraging each of us to take a moment to question the messages we encounter every day and to consider the power we hold in choosing what truly matters. Thank you for joining us for tonight's special report on advertising's influence in our lives and into the psychology and impact of modern advertising. If this conversation got you thinking, remember, that's what we're here for, bringing you stories that dig deeper and encourage you to question the world around us. So, if you found value in tonight's discussion, give us a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your support helps us continue bringing you content that goes beyond the headlines and into the issues that truly matter. Thank you, and until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and take care.